Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Aruan from Gamesmithing. Today we have a very cool and very interesting Q&A to share with you all. It's been a while since the last one we've done, and we've been wanting to make another one for quite a while as well, but we just didn't have the time, to being busy with the update and all of that. But this one is going to be a little bit special. We have a little surprise for you all, in addition to all of the extra info that we're going to talk about today, which it's regarding the new character that we kind of gave a little bit of hints, a little bit of a pre-hype before this Q&A happened. So I hope you all enjoy, and I hope you are having a lovely day. Thank you all, and bye-bye.
Later, we have some cool news for you today, so bear with us for a little moment. We prepared a little something special for you guys, but we are in the last few details, and sorry if you hear me like messing with my laptop. We were supposed to get all this ready before, but we just didn't have the time. It's getting ready now. All right. So guys, first of all, it's really good to have you all here. I'm Allan, as I'm sure most of you know. So I'm the lead developer of Soulstone Survivors, here with the big Aruan Dombrowski, our community manager. He's to bring the beauty to the stream and whatnot, and I'm to bring the age,
The experience.
and yeah, exactly, as experience, let's call it that.
Okay.
And we have something, as you guys know, as we have been saying, we have something really special for you guys today. It is a little bit late, so we will probably have to adapt a little bit, but I think hopefully it will be worth the wait. And yeah, I think as everyone mentioned, we can maybe start with a few of the questions right now. We saw all the questions you guys sent in the AMA channel. There is quite a lot of stuff in there that we would love to get through. And then, there is the new character announcement, of course. And, it's what I can say is that it's not just going to be me saying, it is this character, you'll see in a few minutes.
Yeah, it's super cool. It's gonna be hype. I'm excited to see it as well. I haven't seen it actually with audio yet, so let's see how that turns out.
All
right,
yes,
so-
audio spoilers.
Oh yeah, spoilers. All right, so let me see. All right, we have a bunch of questions here already. So the first thing I wanted to ask you about, Allan, is Soulstone Survivors currently making enough money for us to, be in the labor of love and stuff like that and passion? Do you think we're gonna be able to sustain the game long term, financially speaking?
Yeah. I think that for us, the labor of love is definitely something we take to heart. So, I would be lying if I didn't say we were happy with the results, right? We're not only happy with this amazing community we have here, but, the sales definitely allow us to grow the team, right? So at first it was basically me and Alex, then Gama, then Aruan here, then Thiago. So we're basically using the income we get from the game to try and make it better and better, right? So we're scaling up. We got, one new starter coming very soon, which is a very experienced developer. So, it is enough to keep us going and to do the best job we can. And, I always think to myself, this is, a touchy subject, I guess, for a lot of developers, is the game profitable or not? But I think for me, the way I always see it is, I'm very thankful for the opportunity that this game gives us, for us being able to not have a publisher and do the best game we can, that would really put ourselves behind it. And, I feel a commitment to do this, to do the best I can, because this is such a rare opportunity. We're so lucky. So definitely, guys, know that we will continue supporting Soulstone Survivors for a long time, even if we start other games, even when we get back to Soulstone. Know that we will not stop until it is as good as it can be.
Yep. All right. So I just got the surprise here, so maybe we can
Oh yeah.
show that right now. Okay. This is the Monkey King, the first new character to join the ranks of the Void Hunters. He's a powerful fighter, able to use his magic staff to crush enemies in large areas, and control the elements to his advantage. Threading the line between the heavens and earth, he's capable of using holy and electric skills, offering him a good balance between offensive and defensive attacks. He also specializes in earth skills, a new element being introduced to the game, allowing him not only to deal with enemies from a distance, but boosting his area of effect considerably with every attack. The Monkey King also uses clever and elegant tactics, not only distracting enemies, but sending them off in style. There is much more to the Monkey King than we could ever show in this video, and we cannot wait to see all of the crazy builds you're gonna come up with to make use of his powers. Please remember to like and subscribe. Let us know what you think about the Monkey King in the comments below, and keep an eye out for more news about the next update for Soulstone Survivors. There is so much coming to the game with the next update, and we cannot wait to share more details in the weeks to come. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you are all having a lovely day, and we'll see you in the next one.
All right.
And we're back. Now, what do you guys think of that? That's awesome,
Yeah,
right?
I know some of you guys guessed pretty early. Maybe
Yeah.
the hints were very, very hintful, but yeah, we're super excited about this character, guys. It's honestly has been really a pleasure thinking of the skills and the mythology behind the inspiration and what we could use with it. And there is the new Earth tag, which is not a small thing to come to the game. The first new tag with the first new character, and we didn't even show all there is to him. That we didn't show the ascension, we didn't show the runes, the skill tree, but know that they're all coming together with the character. So yeah, it will be, I think, a lot of fun to play with his skills.
Yeah. It's gonna be great. I'm really hyped about this character as well. It's gonna be great playing with it. Actually, I wanted to ask you about one of the things that the players really wish to know about, which are the extra game modes that will be optional in the game.
Yeah, no, definitely. We're currently working on quite a few. I think we shared a few details in the last dev talk, but we never got too much into it in the dev talk because a lot of things are still open to change. But I can say they're a lot further along right now. There is so much new stuff, and maybe we'll share more than just the sneak peek of the sneak peek today.
Yeah.
And I'll be able to talk about some of the new stuff coming in the next update. And the new game modes, currently our plan is what we have definitely set in stone are the 3 game modes that are pretty far advanced in terms of development, right? And they will, when we say optional, we mean we don't want to force you to play something that maybe you don't like as much as the other game modes, but there will definitely be rewards for it, right? So, for example, not only skins, but just general meta progression and some new meta progression as well, which is currently in the works. So there will be definitely advantages to playing the other game modes, but we definitely don't want to make them mandatory, right? Especially some of them, like the mastery mode, it's more of a challenge, right? So it is a very simple game mode. The double-edged sword is more of a fun game mode, let's put it this way. And it's basically a twist on the basic game, right? But the raids, on the other hand, they are a considerable change to what the game is, right? To how you play, how you level up, how you get power ups, how the challenges are structured, right? It's definitely a lot more structure in terms of how you play and what you do. So we expect that to be challenges that you have to adapt to more than today, you know?
All right, sweet. Yeah, that's really cool. I'm excited to the games mode to about the game modes as well. There is actually a very interesting question here from someone that I don't think we ever talked about this actually. Can we expect gamesmithing to attend convention events in the future? If so, which ones?
Ah, to be honest, that remains to be seen. Yeah, I would say, yes, but it is a lot of work. Just prepare. Think of it like this: preparing for this Q&A takes us quite a bit of work.
Yeah.
But yes, it's definitely something would be interesting.
Oh yeah. Someone asked here in the chat if you will ever give thought about doing merch for the game, because we are actually wearing
Oh
custom
yes,
hoodies,
you
right?
know.
Yeah.
Who knows? I don't know. Maybe one day. It's not something we have focused a lot on, but we would love to. It would be super cool. I would love to do it at least for myself.
Oh
I
yeah,
want
for
the
sure.
merch for the game. Yeah, I don't know if anyone else wants, but I would like to.
Yeah, yeah. It's amazing. I like this hoodie. I use it sometimes. Yeah. Let me see if I
Yeah, absolutely. I see some
hmm.
folks asking about the ETA for
Oh
the
yeah, the ETA
character
for
and
the
the new
character.
patch. To be really honest with you guys, I'm not ready to share just yet a date, but I can say that is very soon. But what I can also say is that the new character is, I don't know, 20% of the patch. It is. You guys have no idea how much stuff we're adding with this next update.
Yeah.
It is just insane. There is, I don't know, I was speaking to Alex just today, and he was saying like, "Oh yeah, we love to do this sort of stuff. Just shoving as much as we can in as fast as we can, and no, not sleep, but but it's we know that it's cool stuff and we get excited and we want to do it. So there is Jesus, so much, so much. Trust me when I say this. We'll maybe over this Q&A we'll share more about this other stuff as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. One of the things that was asked here is that about all of the other characters, because we know from the game, so all the there are quite a lot of characters yet missing from the game, right? And this person asked if they are pretty much set in stone already. Have we given thought to them at all, or are they still up to debate and stuff like that? Like the general thematic of the character, right?
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. So as probably most of you guys know, there are gonna be 22 characters in the game. We're at 14 now. The Monkey King is the first new character since the beginning of early access, but there are still 7 to go, right? And we did give a lot of thought to what all of them will be. I don't know, some of you remember we did events here on Discord asking for ideas. We wanted to know what you guys would like to see. We see all the suggestions, so we take that very deep to heart into consideration, and we have a good idea of what they will be. To be honest, the 7 characters are, I wouldn't say definitely set in stone, but it is a balance between what is underrepresented in the game right now, what styles of play we can explore more with new characters, how to make them different. All of this comes into play into this decision. But I would say that yes, they are, pretty thought out already. We're definitely still open for suggestions. Definitely would still love to hear what you guys think, what you guys are interested in seeing in the game. But know that this is something we often dream about. We talk about, oh, hey, would it be cool to have this or that? So we did think quite a bit about them already.
Yeah. Yes, we do actually. Yeah, we do talk about them. Um, and there is another question here that, many people have asked this before actually, and you have talked about it actually, about perhaps expanding the Soulstone universe into other games as well, right? And do you think, this person asked actually, when can we expect something from us, right? About
Hmm.
when do you think we should maybe reveal things like that?
Yeah.
Sneak peek about what
So
we're
so
thinking.
yeah, what I can say is that it's definitely yes, right? Rogue Soulstone is definitely coming out as well. It's not, as we said before, it's a game we have on pause right now. We're still, growing the team. We're still trying to do our best for Soulstone survivors. So this will continue, as I mentioned before. But it is a game we're super excited about. I talk with the guys, at least once a month. I go and I open the demo, the old demo for Rogue Soulstone, and I play a little bit, and and I feel the game again, and I get excited about it all over again.
Oh yeah.
So know that we really want to do it as soon as we can, but it's just the balance between making the best we can for Soulstone survivors and also working the best we can for Rogue Soulstone, right? And after that, after Rogue Soulstone and in different areas, different types of games, there's definitely interest from us also to continue evolving the Soulstone universe, getting some more lore in, it's something that we're interested in doing. Soulstone Survivor is definitely very shallow in that end, it's kind of by design, but we're always thinking about how things fit together in the world, in the universe. What if we make a game that is like this, like that? How does this fit into the universe? So know that there is, a background to explore, and it's definitely something we want to do.
Yeah, that's lovely. And still talking about expanding the universe of Soulstone Survivors, there are quite a couple of questions here about stuff that we could do to expand Soulstone Survivors as well, right? So people actually are curious about the game modes and stuff like, do you think about adding new maps to the game, or maybe expanding the current maps into something like, I don't know, like adding maybe something extra to the maps, right? Maybe a shop in the
Mm-hmm.
map, and it's something that people have been asking for, right? And things like that.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, in terms, I think it's an interesting question because I think since the beginning of early access until now, a lot of the expansion we made for the game was in the meta progression side, right? So runes, skill trees, the ascensions, which are gameplay, but you get them through the skill tree. So right now the game has a lot of meta progression. So I know we get some feedback. Some players feel that now maybe feels too grindy, and I can definitely understand that. But now we're switching our focus 90% to gameplay. Okay, so this next update, when I say the characters maybe 20% of everything, everything else is gameplay. It's not a new thing to go and farm for. No, it's actual content that you can play during the gameplay to choose to make more interesting builds, to try and evolve your character in different ways. We have a few plans of features to add to the current game mode as well, but a lot of our plans for the future are around other game modes. So, the raids that we talked about before, that is an area we want to expand quite a bit. So, we already have a lot of plans. And, because it is a game mode that allows us to explore, to do very different things. We can basically make a raid that has very different rules to everything else, and it's cool to explore and to try different builds. So rest assured that, man, there is so much we're changing in all senses of gameplay, and this is our focus probably for the next, I don't know, next few updates at least will be 90% gameplay systems and new content to play rather than new things to unlock. Let's put it this way.
All right. Yeah, that's great. I see that some people here are talking about the shopkeeper actually being a secret boss. That would be awesome, actually. adding this guy as a super boss. Yeah, that would be really
Yeah.
great. And talking about gameplay as well, a lot of people have asked about the possibility of having co-op in Soulstone Survivors, or maybe even multiplayer. Now, we've talked
Yeah.
about this in the past a couple of times already, but people are still curious about it. Do you think it's a possibility yet, or have you discarded it completely?
Yeah. So, multiplayer co-op, if we have multiplayer, it will definitely be co-op, but, I don't want to commit just yet. I can't make any promises. I don't know yet, but I do think it would be really cool. And some of the new systems we're adding to the game, they would work really well with multiplayer. So, it's not something we have discarded at all. But I just can't promise it will be there yet. Yet, who knows? Who knows?
All right. In the last dev video, actually, still on the expansion of Soulstone Survivors, the topic, someone asked if you could speak a little bit more about the dungeons that you briefly mentioned on the last dev video. Is it coming in the next update?
Yeah.
Is it not?
Okay. So it's not coming in the next update. It's still in development. We have a lot of the systems in place. We are, still designing some of the encounters and whatnot. But I'm trying to think what I can say and what I can't, just because I don't want to commit too much.
Yeah, this one's a little
But
tricky, right? Yeah, this one's a little
yeah,
bit
but
tricky.
but I'll give a brief, maybe deeper overview than I have in the past. So think of the raids or dungeons. The names still not final, but think of them like your traditional RPG dungeon, right? It is a content that there is a clear beginning, middle, and end. There is something big at the end that you have to face. There are multiple challenges along the way that are very handmade, so we have more control over how the challenge plays and how you respond to it. And, maybe thinking of which builds will be good or bad against that. You can expect definitely traps, and environment dangers that you have to avoid. So, and they will come in all shapes and sizes, right? So you might have more dungeons that are, let's say, inside a building, for example, so they have smaller rooms and whatnot. You might have dungeons that go from inside to something a little bit more open, and then they come back inside. And the possibilities are endless, is what I can say. We have a few concrete plans already, but it's just something we're super excited about because it offers, it gives us the tools to offer you interesting choices. That is kind of what I'm trying to get at. The game as it is right now, the standard game mode, I really think is really cool, and it is very open, right? It is very freeing. You can do pretty much anything you want, and there are issues, of course, like with the balance and whatnot. So some skills are a lot better than others, and blah blah blah. And we're working on all of that. But it gives us also, it is so open that it limits what sort of challenges we can make for you, because the scenario is so big and the boss doesn't really have an area to fight in. And this is the main thing we're changing with the dungeons, right? And so you can expect content that is uh, you know, as I mentioned before, more handmade challenges that are not just scaling things infinitely or just putting a lot of attack speed into the boss and that's it. No, it's actually really thought out as a very specific piece of content, and with modifiers that might force you to play with different builds and to adapt and to adapt and overcome. It is pretty much a different experience to what we have today, but while using all of the same systems, all of the same logic, all of the same skills. So I think it will be actually really cool to explore as a player.
Oh yeah, yeah, and people are saying in the chat that it's pretty much a Soulstone Survivors 2.0, right? It's almost like a
It
entire new
is.
game, and some of the game modes as well, right?
Yes.
It's gonna be a little bit of work. Let's just put it that way. And
Yes.
yeah, talking about a little bit of the current Soulstone survivors and the characters that are up to come as well. Some people would like to know if for every character do you plan on adding new text to them alongside the characters, like for example stuff like maybe water, maybe wind, to expand on the possible builds that we could play with.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. And to be honest, I won't say it is very likely, right? We probably will not add many more tags to the game. I think that right now with Earth, we will land at 15 core tags. And we're still debating whether we'll add maybe another one, maybe a couple other ones, or maybe none. It will really depend on just how everything fits together and if we can come up with systems that make these tags actually different, right? Because we don't want to do just, oh, okay, it is whatever, it is wind, but then you have literally the same skills, wind flavored. This for us is the big thing, is the big challenge in terms of design. And to talk just a little bit about this, which is something I haven't really talked before, but what I can say is that the philosophy behind each of the 15 elements is changing quite a bit. The 14 that exist today, they each have kind of an identity to them, so you can expect arcane skills to apply expose. You can expect lightning skills to apply daze. This is kind of how it is right now. But I can say that for probably 12 of them, it's changing to something different. And, because for us, we felt that some of the tags that exist today didn't really have a strong identity, right? They had a few characteristics, but they didn't feel different enough to play with, or just not something that it would go after to make an interesting build. And we put a lot of effort into making sure that come the new changes, they are more interesting and they play together in different ways. And maybe you want some of this and some of that, and why you want them is actually meaningful. So that's why I say 20% for the character is probably accurate, because we're changing a lot, if not 90% of the skills in the game one way or another. Maybe in the effects, maybe in the area, maybe in how it works, definitely in the balance. So yeah, it is a lot of changes coming. And so just to go back quickly to the answer, right? Will there be new tags? I don't know yet. I will say that probably not many. If any, there won't be many, because it is just, honestly hard to think of strong identities that really build into the game and are not just visual changes, right? Which is what we're always trying to do.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And about these new characters as well. Actually, I don't think. Yeah, we've talked about this. Actually, this is specific issue with a certain specific type of thing that happens, which is mind control. Right? We know that some games have mind control and stuff like that. So someone asked if it would be possible for us to add maybe a character that do mind control, or something that like takes advantage of going to a goblin's body, for example, and being a goblin for a couple of seconds, right? Stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think
Yeah,
it's possible to add something like that to the game?
we talked quite a bit about this sort of stuff internally. Aruan has
Yeah.
a really big passion for this sort of stuff. So I know we personally talked about this quite a bit. But it is challenging in our game. It is a bit problematic, to be honest, because there are two big problems, and I'll try to be brief. First, the scale is very different, right? So the enemies, when they attack you, they deal 20 damage, 30, 50 damage, and you're dealing 5,300,000,000 damage, right? So the scale is a bit crazy. And that is problem number one. Problem number two is just the scale, right? There are so many enemies, so many stuff happening, so many skills that even if you had 1% chance of mind controlling an enemy, you would control everyone instantly, because you have so many skills going off. So it creates a weird dynamic. So I won't say never, but it is a design challenge. I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's challenging for sure. Yeah. And one of the things that I see that people ask a lot about the game is the since we are changing a lot of things, the upcoming updates, people are wondering about the balance of things, right? Because right now we know that there are a couple of things that maybe are too strong, and you feel like a little bit kind of forced to use some of them, right? To get the healing that you need to survive and stuff like that. So, some people are wondering if we are going to be open into changing things so that we don't feel, forced to play something that maybe we need
Yeah,
to
yeah,
survive.
absolutely. So, I think I talked a little bit about this in the previous even couple dev chats, but yes, I can say that the balance for pretty much everything, pretty much all skills in the game is changing, and some will get absurd buffs, some will get absurd nerfs. It is just the nature because we are currently in this process, right? We have been for a while, but what I can say is that just until now, and we are still very far from finishing this process, there are skills that are getting 20, 30 times the damage that they had before, and some that are getting like a 70, 80% nerf because the disparity is so big. And the problem with this sort of disparity is not that we want it to be, oh, we want all the skills to be the same and whatnot. We want, blah blah blah. No, we want you to make the interesting choices, and you create the broken builds, right? You make the skill broken by combining this element and this element and that. But right now, some skills they are already too strong naturally. And this is where the problem starts to appear, right? Because you feel forced, right? There is nothing we can do to give you the choice. You're really forced to play what is the meta build because the enemies attack you instantly. They deal a billion damage, and you need to deal literally trillions of damage to keep up with the scaling Overlord mode and Endless mode. So this is a big focus for the next update. And this is definitely something we're aiming for the next update. So expect massive changes to pretty much all skills in the game in terms of balance and what is viable and what isn't. And also the challenge, okay? So also another thing to keep in mind is the actual endless scaling and challenge and how it scales. That is probably changing as well. So, keep all that in mind. As I said, it is a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure. And someone asking in the chat, um, if talking about changes that are coming to the game in the future, one of the big ones actually that people have talked about in the past is if we found a solution to the current dodging simulator kind of thing, like you dodge too much in the game's a little bit too fast and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
are we open to changing things up so the game becomes a little
Hmm.
bit slower? We don't need to dodge that much.
Yeah, definitely. So, this has it's walks hand in hand with what I just said about the balance of the skills, right? Right now, since there are builds that are so incredibly effective and they're so good, they it's like if we balance the game for these builds, the other builds are useless. And if we balance the game to the other builds, this build is just boring, right? It's auto win and there is nothing you do. And this has forced our hand in making the challenge back in the day, right? It's been a long time since we played with how the curses scale and how the endless scales. And right now it is definitely a little bit too much, that there is no break to the action. You're always dodging. And we want the gameplay to feel fast. We want the gameplay to feel responsive. That is definitely not going to change. but we don't want you to be dodging and running literally every little second of your life. It's like painting the ground red. That is not something that we wanted to do from the beginning. And now bringing the skills more in line with each other, making the builds more interesting, this allows us to review the challenge, right? To review how the curses combine together, how much they scale the level of the enemies, how do we really add the difficulty without making the game not trivial because there's nothing happening, but also not insane, as in you just have to run all the time. And really trying to create the balance, having moments where you are more active, more responsive, and you have to really fight for your life, and then moments where you can kind of take a breath, grow a little bit in your character and go to the next big challenge. So yes, it's definitely changing.
Oh yeah, for sure. And still talking a little bit about skills. Somebody here asked if we have any plans to add in combinations of skills, or maybe something to do with the levels of the skills, right? That right now they don't really, do much, right? Like, are we gonna combine skills into becoming something bigger, better? Like, are there any plans to do something like that in the game?
Yeah, so this is something we have discussed so many times over, since the beginning of early access, and it is a really cool system that a lot of other, bullet heaven games have. And, for us, it is definitely more challenging because we have just an insane number of skills, right? We're pretty much well over 300 now, active skills. And so if we made think of it, if you made one evolution for each skill, that already doubles that, right? And so I don't think we would have the skill to make evolutions that way. But what I can say is we do have a new system coming with the next update that kind of plays on the same strings, let's put it this way. It gives, we're aiming at least to give you the same feeling of you are making something very specialized, something that is actually game changing, but you're always sacrificing something. You can never have the very perfect build. So there is a new system that will not be skill evolutions, but our hope is that it will give you sort of the same feeling. And I might as well say that in terms of this system, you will probably have a little over 100 choices in the next update, and those are all meaningful choices. So so yes, there is things coming in that direction, and I'm super excited to share more, but probably not today. Today we're sharing quite a bit.
Yeah, it's already quite a little bit indeed. And talking a little bit about one of the things that perhaps are also going to change in the future are the power-ups. Do you think do you have any plans about power-ups? Are you going to change it, for the better? Add new
Mhm.
power-ups, remove some of them, maybe? Is there something you can share
Yeah.
about that with us?
Yes, I'll share that. Yes. No, I'm kidding.
I like that
It's
actually.
so
Okay.
when I say the characters, new characters 20%, the new power ups coming with the next update are definitely more than 20%. There
20%.
are. I still haven't stopped to really count how many new power ups are coming. Okay, but let me tell you that it is in the three digits without compromising anything. So yes, the power-ups are getting massively expanded. It is one of the main systems we're expanding with this next update, in terms of new functionalities, in terms of allowing new builds to exist, new interesting choices to be taken. It's not just so it increases your stats by plus 10 damage modifier. No, it's a lot of stuff that really hones in, into playing the power fantasy of that specific build you want to make. So yes, know that a lot is coming into that sense.
All right, yeah, that's really good. I see in chat that people actually want to see the trailer again. You think we could maybe play the trailer again once we are, kind of finishing it? Maybe show it again in the
Yeah,
end.
we will post it on YouTube right after this
Yeah,
Q&A. So,
yeah. You can watch it again if you want.
but
Over on
yes,
YouTube.
you will have a chance to watch it full screen for the whole duration this time.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, one of the other things that people talk about maybe changing in the game or maybe adding are things for like multi-element skills that interact with multiple statuses, right? Since we are adding new power-ups and things like that, maybe this is even a suggestion that I don't remember we talking about this actually, right? For example, like a shadow and fire skills that turns burning stacks into doom stacks or things like that, right? New ways to interact with the debuffs that we can apply to enemies, new ways we can maybe think about builds. You think you can share a little bit about if you plan to add stuff like that into the game?
Yeah. So, the power ups are again a big part of this, right? So,
Yeah.
think of it like this. For us, having mixed builds is how we usually put it. It's like having, builds that are ideal if you get fire and shadow skills, for example. You're mixing up, and trying different combos. This has always been very important for us. I don't think that the game does a great job at this right now of incentivizing those builds with the current power ups, right? But this is changing with the next update. Okay, there will be quite a lot of these power ups are around getting you to try different combinations, getting you to think, okay, if I get this and I get that, and you know, okay, this is good, but if I use this with that, this is our goal. This is what we're trying to do. And I think that the next update will be a big, big step towards that direction. But I'm sure there will still be more to explore. But yes, it is definitely a big concern for us.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, Another really interesting question here actually uh comes from a place of in the same train of thought that adding like maybe a shop in the game and stuff like that. People have asked before about maybe adding items into the game, right? Items that you can
Mm-hmm.
like equip on your character, or maybe that you can pick up during a match and then go to the blacksmith or maybe upgrade these items to something greater. Or and this actually pairs well with another question that comes often, that is about reducing the grind of the game. So do you plan on maybe adding something that we can exchange materials that we have too much of for materials that we have maybe a little bit too less of, to be able to craft things more efficiently, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even a new
Mm-hmm.
character, right? A new tab, like a new blacksmith or something like that, right?
Yeah. So, I can say that just in terms of, the grind, getting materials and whatnot, we're making that a bit easier. So we're increasing some of the values. It will be a bit easier to get, especially actually the more common materials are actually more of a problem than the rare ones right now. But there is a different way to think about it as well, which is just the amount of content in the game. Is what I said before. Right now, you kind of have to play the same content, and then you play it again and again, and sometimes you already beat it, and you try a different build, and that is great. But we want to offer more options, and this is what the game modes and the power ups and all that are for, right? To give you more ways to experiment and try, and doing that, you will get more materials. So that I'm pretty sure will already alleviate this feeling of the necessity of how to help with that. That is one thing. On the other side, exchanging materials or not, We'll see. It depends. To be honest, it's something that we have opinion on. We talk about every now and then. We have received this feedback for a while already. We will see. It's still not entirely confirmed, but it's definitely something that we might consider. We'll have to see more in the future how that develops, how with the new content is that still necessary, this sort of thing. Uh, and finally, for the last bit that I left for last, which are items that you drop and equip and whatnot, a sort of different type of progression. Well, let's just say I can't talk about it right now.
Yep.
But
Understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah. One other question that is pretty interesting here is I've seen this pop up quite a bit actually in the feedback session of the community, right? And if the question is if you plan to add a preview to the things that the player still needs to unlock, like weapons and things like that. Like I've seen this pop up quite a bit actually, and maybe you could explain maybe why, if you've thought about it, maybe why it isn't in the game already, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. This was actually a choice by us. It is more work from a development point of view to do it how we do it today than to preview stuff, right? To preview stuff, basically, you don't do anything, right? You just don't let the guy click on the buy button, and that's it. That's the preview. We actually hide some information, right? So you can't see the weapon, you can't see the skills of the weapon until you make the achievement for the weapon. And I think different players will have different feelings regarding that, right? I think some players there are, min maxers, like honestly I am, definitely want to know, from the get-go, okay, so there are these rooms, these weapons, and oh, this sounds interesting, I'll go after that. So you kind of want to optimize your way towards something you want to do, and that's where the previews are really useful. But on the other hand, we have so much stuff in the game that if you had the option to look at everything from the get-go, it would be definitely very overwhelming. Imagine the first time you open the game, you go to the room screen, there are over 100 choices, and you're looking and reading, this is locked, but it does this. So I think that for most players, hiding the information is actually favorable. It's probably better to do it that way. And this is why, I'm kind of explaining why we're thinking of it the way it is. It wasn't, accidental. And I know that for some players that just means, but this is just a pain in the ass. I'll just go to the wiki and read it there, and so I completely get that. I understand, but there are just two sides to this coin. It is really a matter of thinking of the big picture, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. I think we've gone through most of the questions here. The question is, let me see if there is something else. Oh yes, there is something else that people talk about a lot. Mod support is something that people have been asking for quite a bit for a while now, right? We've talked about it in the past. Maybe you've given it some thought. Maybe not. Can you maybe talk a little bit about mod support? What do you think of it? Do you think it's a possibility for Soulstone survivors in the future to officially support
absolutely.
mods?
Yeah, it is definitely in our plans, and the only reason I don't straight out promise it will be a thing is that it is a lot of work, to do it properly. Our game is, more complicated than most, let's put it this way. And what I mean by that, it's like to make a skill, there is, an elaborate visual effect. To make a character, there is a 3D model and animations, and blah, 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 blah. So it is, a bit of a process, but and also on the other side, for whoever the modder is, we want them to have a good experience, to be able to do a lot of stuff. We want whoever the modder is to have the tools they need to create cool stuff. To create stuff that is not just okay. The barbarian has 1 billion health now. We want cool changes. We want to support that. and this is where the work comes from, and giving the tools that the players and the modders will be able to create cool stuff with. uh, so the only reason I don't promise is it's a lot of work, but we're looking into it, and it's actually something we want to do. It will depend. We'll have to evaluate as we go deeper and deeper if what we'll be able to do, how we'll be able to help modders or not. But it's definitely something we're actually looking into. Okay, it's not just wishful thinking.
Yeah. All right. So there is actually another question here, but we've gone. I think we've been here already for like almost 50 minutes. I don't know if you want to keep going.
Yeah,
ready to
we can do maybe a couple more. Complete maybe an hour. We got the beginning. We were kind of
yeah. The beginning was kind of it didn't count. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. But if you have short questions, far away, and maybe we can answer very quickly.
I don't think these are short questions, but I think they're important to talk about. The questions that are left here.
And yeah, before we continue, so yeah, let's listen to the crowd. Let's play the trailer again when we finish. So the last thing, we will play the trailer again before we put on YouTube, and then you guys can have a look and let us know.
Yeah, for sure. The questions are actually about the game modes that are, maybe a possibility of coming in the future, right? They are coming, right? But they are actually asking about specifically for challenge modes, like stuff like, daily challenges and stuff like that. What are our stances on daily stuff, right? Content that is not exactly permanent in the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's a viability for Soulstone survivors? Do you think of adding that in?
Yeah. So it's a good question because I didn't even mention the challenge mode, which is something I mentioned in the dev talk, but it is something we're working on actually as well, which is a mode where you basically have a very specific challenge, right? So I'll give a random example, right? So don't think it's not something in the game right now. But let's say you have to beat the desert at Curse 5 with the Barbarian, but only using ice skills. I don't know, whatever. I'm just saying anything. So very specific tasks that kind of force you to play in a different way than you're used to. And this is, to keep fresh and give you just something cool to try, and you'll be like, oh, maybe you even learn something new by trying a crazy build that you're forced to do. So that part is definitely coming, but it's definitely not coming as a daily challenge sort of thing. We don't want to make anything that is time limited. Given that the game is single player and whatnot. We're still kind of deciding on the little details, but there will be a way for you to always access all of the challenges. And as we add more, you will be able to access the ones you did before, the new ones. You won't have to be worried about, oh, I can't play today, whatever the challenge is, and I wanted to play it, I won't be able to. We don't want to give that feeling. We have enough daily quests in the in the other games of the world, so it's not something we want to do.
For sure. I've seen people ask this quite a bit as well here in the chat about legendary weapons. Can you maybe talk a little bit about legendary weapons?
I can, yes, but I don't know if I will.
Yeah.
But, they're coming. They're coming is what I can say. And we are thinking. The reason I don't want to talk a lot about it is it's still fluid.
Yeah.
But yeah, they are definitely coming. And what we're thinking about is, we want to make them feel legendary. It shouldn't be just another weapon with a couple of skills, and it's cool and on. I'm not saying I don't like the ones we have, but they should feel special. They should feel like something you're happy about.
Yeah, for sure. And still in the topic of events and game modes and things like that, maybe this could be our, finishing stating question here or or something. People have asked in the past about the possibility of opting out of current events, because as we know, the game currently works as in, all events that we have in the game, they stay in the game, right? They're not timed events, so you can enjoy them later as well. And people have, discussed that this maybe dilutes a little bit of the pool of, skills that you get to choose from in the game. And people have asked for the option to opt out of these, special events. Is that something you think of adding into the game?
Yeah, we're considering, we could very easily just add something in the options that is like disable events, and then you don't see the stuff in the ground and whatnot. It kind of removes some of the pollution of the maps where they're present and whatnot. It might be something we do. The reason we haven't yet is just, it feels kind of like a cheap way to address the issue. Like, it's, go to I never like when a game tells me, oh, go to the options and do something. The game should just work. That is how I like to think of stuff. So this is kind of why. It's kind of more of philosophical issue than anything else. And yeah, I guess that's it pretty much.
Yeah, for sure. I think we've gone through most of these. There is actually a question here that I think is pretty quick to answer as well about GOG and GOG.com and stuff like that and other places. People have asked before if you have plans on adding the game to places like that to make it available on such platforms. Is that something you plan on doing?
Yeah, absolutely. The reason we haven't yet, it's just, we're so focused on the game that, to be really honest with you guys, it's just hard to find the time. It takes some work, right? You have to speak with the storefront, set up the storefronts, prepare the materials, and this and that. And you might think, oh, but you already have all that on Steam, and it's just. Trust me, it's not. It's usually a lot of work. Usually days of work. It's not. It's not weeks, not months, but it's days of work that we're always trying to do something cool in the game, and then it's kind of you either do one or the other. So that's why it's not there yet. We haven't really spoke to the guys of GOG yet, to be honest, but we spoke with quite a few other storefronts, and hopefully we'll be there. Hopefully it won't take too long, but yes, we're considering.
All right, and plans for more chromatic skills. Do you think you're gonna add more chromatic skills into the game, like maybe a chromatic beam or something like that?
Chromatic beam, yeah. I heard of chromatic slam as
Chromatic
well. I saw Broken saying there, but I saw that before. Yeah. Who knows, guys? Who knows? Never say never,
A chromatic Sharknado. That would be funny. Yeah. That would be funny. Indeed. So, what do you say? You want to maybe play the trailer again? Want to keep going?
Yeah, guys. I think that, we don't want to also hold you guys for forever. And, I know some of you guys maybe have missed the trailer when we showed it earlier today. So, to close it off, I guess we can, play the new character trailer again.
All right.
And if you have very, very quick questions, send it while the trailer is going, and maybe we'll answer them. But
yeah, send them in.
I hope that we address most of this stuff.
Send them in now. All right. So everybody, grab your popcorn, your drinks. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is the Monkey King, the first new character to join the ranks of the Void Hunters. He's a powerful fighter, able to use his magic staff to crush enemies in large areas, and control the elements to his advantage. Threading the line between the heavens and earth, he's capable of using holy and electric skills, offering him a good balance between offensive and defensive attacks. He also specializes in earth skills, a new element being introduced to the game, allowing him not only to deal with enemies from a distance, but boosting his area of effect considerably with every attack. The Monkey King also uses clever and elegant tactics, not only distracting enemies, but sending them off in style. There is much more to the Monkey King than we could ever show in this video, and we cannot wait to see all of the crazy builds you're gonna come up with to make use of his powers. Please remember to like and subscribe. Let us know what you think about the Monkey King in the comments below, and keep an eye out for more news about the next update for Soulstone Survivors. There is so much coming to the game with the next update, and we cannot wait to share more details in the weeks to come. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you are all having a lovely day, and we'll see you in the next one.
I see someone suggested that the earth element should add the new stoned debuff.
The stone debuff. That would be really cool, actually, to see in the game.
Yeah,
The stone debuff. Yeah, that's funny, man. Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about specifically?
I guess just since we show the character again, the one thing I'll say is, with the new element coming and the new character, I know I spoke about all the changes coming, but I'll just leave you with know that there aren't just debuffs. There are other ways we're adding new stuff to the game. So the Earth tag, for example, will not have a new debuff. It will have something else.
All right. So you want to call it? I think that's it. Does anybody else have any questions for us? Ray tracing? When are we adding ray tracing to the game? That's a good question. That's a good question.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think, we address quite a few of this stuff. You can always ask us questions. We're always around here on Discord, and, we read everything. The amazing folks are here as well. So Warry, Rowler, and, Bianca, we're always around. So do drop us questions. If you have problems, open tickets. We try to be as approachable as we can. My Discord just closed, but I'll pretend that didn't happen. And but know that we're here, and we will share more stuff about the new update. Probably in the next few weeks. We will see where we sprinkle what and where we show what, but we will show more stuff. Hopefully, we'll get to alpha not too far in the future, and we'll start testing some of this stuff, and we'll really be grateful to have your help in testing and some early access to the new changes. And yeah, I guess that's it. I really hope, I just wanted to thank you guys for being here, for sending the questions in, for listening to us, for your support to the game, for, being this amazing community we are. It's really, I really feel so lucky. You guys have no idea. So, thank you for being who you are, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, everyone. I hope you are all having a lovely day, and a lovely rest of your day and your weekend, right? Today is Friday. All right, I think that's a bye-bye for us.
Yeah, guys. Thank you very much. See you, guys.
See ya.